Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen. For the new members, kindly hit the subscription button so that the next time I go online you can be able to get an alert. Remember, Kathleen's channel is our online #1 show that brings you issues to do with security, violence, terrorism, gender and women, and another pressing issue that is facing the global south, that is Africa. And now today we are still on the Kenya-Malta dispute with Somalia. So today the International Court of Justice is set to give its verdict, and of course everybody is worried, all is waiting to see what the verdict could be. But as things are already, the two countries have had their strong stance that none of it is ready to give away that piece of contested land. Sometimes maybe some of us don't know which Maltan border is actually being disputed. So today I brought a map for us to analyze this map, okay? Now this is the map, and when you see this map, Kenya wants its border to run eastwards. Somalia wants the border to run southwards. And people could wonder, why does Kenya want the border to run eastwards? And why does Somalia want the border to run southwards? According to Somalia, Somalia is following the equidistance border lines that are actually accepted even by the United Nations. And Kenya is following the principle of proportionality, and this principle of proportionality came as a result of some of the agreements that countries in Africa actually have made with regard to borderlines. For example, in 2009 Kenya entered into an agreement with Tanzania, and in this agreement Kenya gave away they drew a boundary with Tanzania actually, and through a bilateral agreement, and in this boundary Kenya gave away around 25,000 square kilometers of some of it is border, okay, Malta territory. And that's why all the time you hear Somalia telling Kenya that you give your land to Tanzania, so you should claim your land from Tanzania. Because if Kenya never gave that boundary or never negotiated that boundary to Tanzania, then today Zanzibar could be in Kenya. And then if we follow the equidistance borderline, that is the one Somalia is advocating for, that the borders are measured southwards, then Kenya then will be landlocked. That's why you see Kenya taking a very strict stand, because below Kenya, when you look at Kenya and Tanzania, Kenya has already given part of its territory, all parties of what it's supposed to be its territory according to the equidistance borderlines to Tanzania. And then if the court is going to rule in favor of Somalia, then Kenya is likely to remain with a very, very small Malta territory, and is likely to be landlocked, and that implies that some of its economic ventures and its relevancy in the East Africa region may actually reduce or even go down. Remember, Kenya normally stands as the big brother in East Africa, and this is a position that it would want actually to defend. But at the same time, not only will this ruling then impacting Kenya, but also impact on other African nations that have had similar agreements in terms of bilateral agreements in terms of the definition of boundaries. And for example, if Kenya loses, there are high chances that it will return reclaim its territory from Tanzania. It is likely to revoke the 2009 agreement, because no country will want to sit down and give it its territory and remain landlocked. So I'm meant to believe that if this then goes that way, that if the borders are to be measured southwards, then Kenya is likely to revoke its 2009 bilateral agreement with Tanzania. And then, you see, it will be another series of cases. I don't know whether bilateral agreements can be revoked. Individuals of international relations and diplomacy, kindly tell us. And then you see, if Tanzania loses, or if the borderline between Kenya and Tanzania in terms of the maritime territories revoked, and then Tanzania and Mozambique will be in loggerheads, and Mozambique and South Africa will also be in loggerheads. So that's why when I did the previous video on these cases, I said that I don't believe that the International Court of Justice is the right institution to negotiate or to offer solution to the maritime disputes actually in Africa. I think the African Union stands at a better chance to negotiate these boundaries, because by the end of the day, this maritime territory dispute does not involve only Kenya and Somalia. The verdict that is likely to be given, especially if that verdict favors Somalia, my friend, then it means that there will be a series of maritime conflicts in the continent, because every country then will want to follow that boundary, like that equidistance borderline thing. The principle of proportionality then is not going to work, because no country will want to sacrifice its territorial integrity, sovereignty, and lose its territory, and they allow others to do what? To enjoy. So that is the first thing, and that's why you see Kenya very agitated and Kenya very sad concerning the same. And then another thing is Somalia, on the other hand, is not ready to give up, and Somalia feels like Kenya gave away the land, knowing very well they were in a dispute already, and Somalia feels like Kenya should not be the one to give to sell the oil and the minerals in the disputed region. Actually, the disputed region is full of oil and some minerals. So this dispute then takes another actually direction. Could it be that the dispute between Tanzania, Kenya and Somalia is a proxy war between multinational companies from European and other continents who wants to exploit oil and minerals in this region? Why is the ICJ so adamant to have Kenya in the case, and Kenya has withdrawn? Why must they go ahead actually to give the verdict, and one of the parties involved has withdrawn the case? It tells us one thing, and that's why Kenya talks about biasness, because it has withdrawn from the case, but the International Court of Justice is not ready to withdraw from the case. It's not ready to honor that. And we have aspects that some companies had already signed contracts actually to exploit oil from that particular region. So it tells me, for me, it tells me that this is not a dispute between Kenya and Somalia. It is the international multinational, or it's the multinational companies and the international communities that actually wants to have the easiest way to exploit oil from that particular region. They believe that Somalia is a failed country, but you know, you cannot take a country to be failed for a long time. And I think because Somalia has always been associated with war and so forth, they believe that when that oil maybe is in the hands of Somalia, then it would be easy to get that oil at East Coast. You see, or when there is a dispute between the two countries in that particular region, Kenya will be desperate then to give out that region for exploitation at a throwaway price. So you see, the dispute we are talking about oil, we remember we keep on saying that oil is a curse in Africa, by the way. No country in Africa that has had oil has lived peacefully. We have had series of conflicts and cases. And you know, this raises a question on, should we stop exploiting our mineral resources? Should we stop even navigating and exploring whether we have mineral resources and so forth, because each time we have resources, actually a conflict must ensue. And then another thing, the president of Kenya was saying that they are ready to protect their territorial integrity, and perhaps this points to a military confrontation with Somalia. And I'm sitting here and I'm asking myself, which country in the world has entered into a war with a failed state and then itself became stable? Majority of them ended to be failed states. So for me, it's like Kenya should not even think of, leave alone attempting. Kenya should not think of actually entering into war with Somalia. Somalia has been fighting for the last 3 decades and they have nothing to lose. So if Kenya stoops too low to fight Somalia, and then it tells you that by the end of the day, Kenya is likely to end into the same state as Somalia is today. And remember, in this particular case, Somalia and Al-Shabaab will have a common enemy, Kenya. And that's the time we will have high cases of terror attacks, that we will have high cases of insecurity, and so forth. So for me, I'm seated here and I'm trying to figure out what the verdict of this case could be and what could be the implication of this case in Africa, not only between Kenya and Somalia right now, because if Kenya revokes its bilateral agreement with Tanzania, Tanzania then will also claim the border southwards, and Mozambique will be pesteling South Africa. And you know, this is a series of conflicts. So I'm just saying that if Somalia wins, Kenya loses, Tanzania loses, then Mozambique loses, and then by the end of the day, South Africa will be the big loser. And then I'm also saying that Kenya should not actually think of fighting Somalia. That will be an embarrassment, because we will end up into being a failed state. Because if Kenya and Somalia fights, the international communities will be divided in terms of their support to these 2 countries. And it will be messy and it will be dirty. I believe that even if the case has gone too far, the 2 countries still have a chance to try negotiation and diplomacy and see actually what they can do. Remember, if the 2 countries fight, the leaders will be somewhere very comfortable, and the people are going to have the pain of it. It's me and you, the common citizens. Kindly, the experts of international relations and diplomacy and international policy, drop your comments. Tell us actually, what if Somalia decides to fight Kenya actually? Because Kenya is saying so much, we are ready to protect ourselves. What if Somalia stands up and says, you know, we are going to deploy people to fight you? What will happen? Because you know, Somalia is also a sleeping lion. We cannot consider Somalia a failed state, like a weak state anymore. It can be a weak state, but military wise, it's not weak. So we really need to, what will happen? Drop your comments. Drop your comments actually. And please, if you have not subscribed, subscribe, please. Look at the subscription button. Have you subscribed? Thank you so much.